Welcome to the World Communion Sunday podcast, brought to you by Global Ministries and Higher Education and Ministries. Today, we're talking about this vitally important Sunday in our church's calendar and how your local church can get involved. Thanks for joining us as we get ready for World Communion Sunday.
Well, welcome to the World Communion Sunday podcast, that podcast where we focus on this incredibly important Sunday that's coming up in just a few weeks in our church calendar. Super excited today to have Bishop Jim Dorff with us from the San Antonio Episcopal Area. Bishop Jim, thank you so glad for being with us today.
Thank you, Rich. Glad to be here.
Now, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? What is the San Antonio Episcopal Area that you are the bishop over? I wish I was in San Antonio today. I'm on the Northeast today. I wish I was down in your part of the world.
You ought to be here. You would enjoy yourself, although it's a bit warm as usual this time of year.
Nice.
The San Antonio Episcopal Area, it's interesting that you ask. Our area is in transition. I came in 2008. As the bishop of the area, and we had two conferences, the Rio Grande Annual Conference and the Southwest Texas Annual Conference. And we've been in a discernment process all during this period, and by the action of both of the annual conferences in the past few years, we are in the process of unifying and becoming one annual conference. And so the conferences voted in June to become one annual conference effective January 15th of 2015, and we will become the Rio Texas Annual Conference.
Okay.
And so it's an exciting time to be a part of the life of this area.
Well, that's amazing. So lots of change happening in your part of the woods today. I'm sure that's added a lot on your schedule. So I appreciate you being here today to talk about World Communion Sunday.
About World Communion Sunday.
Yeah, for the people who are listening in who don't know what World Communion Sunday is, it's hard to believe, but there are people out there that don't. Why don't you tell us, what is World Communion Sunday?
World Communion Sunday has been around for a long, long time. World Communion Sunday actually was begun. Its predecessor began back in the 1940s. It has continued to evolve over the years, but it is an opportunity for churches across denominational lines to recognize our commonness and to do that through an act that Jesus has left to us that truly does bring us together as one, and that is through the act of Holy Communion. And World Communion Sunday has been around for a long, long time, both for United Methodists and for most of the other major denominations. It's been a part of who we are, and this first Sunday in October has been the time for us to recognize that we're not in this by ourselves and we're not in it alone.
Absolutely. A part of what I love about this is, people from various streams of the Christian faith kind of working together, celebrating together. Have you, over your years seen, kind of ways that that's happened within, your part of the world, within, your conferences?
Let me tell you quickly, when World Communion Sunday really, I've always appreciated it, and I've always been supportive of it and observed it. But one particular Sunday back, this was a long time ago, I was pastor of a county seat town in North Texas, and it was World Communion Sunday. And after church, I noticed we had, of course, several visitors there from various places and for various reasons. But there was a couple, actually a family, that came up to me after World Communion Sunday, after church, after worship, and introduced themselves. And of course, I welcomed them. And it turns out that they were from Africa, and were visiting friends. And they were very pleased and felt very much a part of us. Because they knew that their church in their home village was on that very same day celebrating World Communion Sunday.
That's cool.
And
that's very cool.
I know it really kind of blew me away because it truly tied in the realities of what the day is all about, and that is to realize that there are Christians all over the world that celebrate this sacrament in one way or another. And it truly was tremendous kind of eye-opening and touching experience for them to be able to feel a part of their home community while they were with us in our community.
Absolutely.
It was a great experience.
Huh, that's very cool. Now, why does the United Methodist kind of movement, why do we continue to celebrate this? Why is it important to us?
You know, as United Methodists, back from the time of Wesley, of course, ecumenism is a part of who we are. We have never understood ourselves to be the one and only, and we have always understood ourselves to be in common mission and ministry with our brothers and sisters of various arms and branches of the Christian faith. And so therefore, having an opportunity to recognize that very specifically and to do that through a sacramental act has just been, it's very Wesleyan, it's very Methodist, it's just a part of who we are. And it's a very significant part. If we ever lose that, then we have lost a significant part of who we are.
Absolutely. Now, every year we take an offering at World Communion Sunday.
Oh yeah.
Where does that offering go?
Well, it's interesting that I've had an opportunity to visit with you a little bit about this, because I also happen to be the president of the General Board of Higher Education and Ministry this quadrennium. That gives me double reason to be engaged and interested and frankly promoting World Communion Sunday, because the proceeds of the offering, the World Communion Sunday offering, go toward the development of leadership for the church, and not just the church here in the U.S., but through General Board of Global Ministries, through their various programs that they have of leadership development around the globe. Then also here in this country, a significant portion of the offering goes toward providing assistance for the development of leaders from ethnic minority populations in the church. And so it's a way of not only recognizing our oneness with each other and with other Christians, it's also an opportunity for us to begin the process of supporting and developing significant Christian leadership, which the church so desperately needs today.
Absolutely. I wonder if you can give us a kind of a sense, a kind of a taste of some of that leadership development that you're seeing, taking place, either in the States or around the world, that's being supported by the offering from World Communion Sunday.
Well, the ethnic minority scholars programs of various sorts have been around for a long, long time. They have provided outstanding leaders for the church over the years. They're continuing to do that. The opportunities for leadership development through missional programs globally, those are all ongoing programs, and they have served us well. It's one of those things, the only thing you wish is that you could do more.
Right.
And that's why the generosity of our people at World Communion Sunday is so important, is because we all know that the church and the world need devoted, capable, committed Christian leaders, both for the church and for the world. And the offering really is a significant portion of assistance that we can offer for specifically ethnic minority populations, our global partners. It's very significant and very important.
Absolutely. Can you think of a particular recipient of some of these funds over the years that you've heard of or has made an impact? Particularly, is there a story about a specific person that you could share?
I can't give you a name at this point, but what I can tell you is that it's been very interesting to me, is that over the years, this is not just recently, right? But over the years, when I have encountered significant ethnic minority population leaders in the church, it's very clear to me that what has happened many times is that as they share their story, they will talk about the ways in which the scholarship program through the United Methodist Church significantly assisted them to get their education, which they needed to become the leaders that they are, which we all need.
Absolutely.
So I have heard on many occasions the significance to individual people who are significant leaders in the church today.
Absolutely. This I think is exciting. It's a systematic, it's a way for all of us to jump on board in a way to support populations in just a real practical way. Hey, let's take an offering, which will end up supporting leaders that really will propel the church forward, will help us, in the coming decades. Really, it's an incredible opportunity for churches to get engaged. What would you say to a church or a church leader, maybe specifically, who, they're not too sure whether they're going to engage in World Communion Sunday at their church? They're like, it's just another Sunday. It's another one of these Sundays. There's only so many during the year. I'm not sure I want to be involved. What would you say to them, Bishop Jim?
Let me tell you, the deal is this.
Yep.
There's two reasons.
Yep.
One is what we talked about in terms of helping our people to understand that when they come to the communion table, it's not about them. It's about the sacrificial love of our Lord that was offered to everybody, everywhere, for all time. And that's a message that is significant always. And World Communion Sunday is one of those days where you can specifically do that and help people understand that. That this is an act that God did through Christ for the world, not just for me or for us.
Absolutely.
That's number one. Number two is that, hey, all of our churches, they want good quality leadership.
Right.
They ask for it. They expect it. The truth is, our leaders come from our churches for the most part, as God calls them.
Yep.
And this is a way that they can invest in what they say is important, which is the development of leaders.
Right.
And if it's really important to you to have good quality leaders, well-educated leaders in the church, this is a chance where you can put your money where your mouth is. And I think that's important for us all the time. But World Communion Sunday is one way that you can really do that.
Absolutely. Well, I'm sure I just heard a bunch of church leaders say, oh, right, of course, I should be involved in World Communion Sunday.
I hope so.
Sure. Definitely.
I hope so.
Bishop Jim, before we let you go, is there anything else you'd like to say to our listeners as we kind of wrap up this interview?
I would just, number one, really encourage all of our congregations to take this offering seriously, take the day seriously, celebrate it the way it's intended to be celebrated. And number two, I want to thank our congregations for their generosity. United Methodists have always been generous people. And our current leaders not only support that, but they encourage it and teach it. And so I want to thank United Methodists for all that they do for so many people on so many occasions, particularly this occasion of World Communion Sunday. I want to thank people for their generosity and their commitment to Christ and their spirit of giving as God has given to us.
Well, thank you so much, Bishop Jim. I appreciate you taking some time out. I know as you're preparing for the transition to Rio Texas Annual Conference, I know that you're a busy individual and all the hats you wear. So thank you so much for taking time out to be on the show today.
Rich, it's been my pleasure, and God bless you. And we pray that God will continue to bless us as a church as we seek to move forward.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for the World Communion Sunday podcast. Join us as we celebrate this vitally important Sunday in our church calendar.